All right, thank you, Rhoda. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today for this open house. You are here because you might have been engaged by one of us sometime this week or in the past couple of weeks to talk about what the UN Global Compact is and to see if that is something that you would like to subscribe to. Those are values that you believe in, and to see if that would be a great fit for your company. So thank you, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this open house. As she introduced me, I am Tolu Lacroix. I'm the Executive Director of Universal Compact Ghana. Been with the network for 5 years now, and it's really been wonderful. Just very briefly, I want to talk about what is the UN Global Compact. The UN Global Compact was an initiative that was founded by Kofi Annan, the Secretary General of the UN. Back in 1999, he was addressing leaders in Davos, business leaders. And he was saying to the leaders then, we need to bring together the United Nations and the private sector and form a compact so that we can put a human face on the marketplace. This was the discussion back in 1999. All those business leaders agreed, and they set up the UN Global Compact in the year 2000. The UN Global Compact is based on 10 principles in 4 pillar areas. Those areas are human rights, labor, the environment, and anti-corruption. It is on this foundation that businesses agreed to operate their businesses by and to incorporate those values into their strategies, operations, their visions, and so forth. So at that time, 1999, in the year 2000, when the Global Compact was founded, 40 companies around the world signed up to the Global Compact. Today, over 24,000 companies have signed up, and it is expanding. The question is why? Why is it that this initiative is now really taking off? It's because businesses and business leaders have come to understand that for for companies to really thrive in this modern day environment, for companies to grow their companies healthily, organically, they need to have aspects of these core values in the business. They have to make these core aspects part of the overall brand of the business. And investors are watching, consumers are watching, the trends are shifting in that direction. So this initiative, which was founded by Kofi Annan, is very key in ensuring that businesses have that opportunity to aspire to these heights, so to speak, and be able to become that ideal sustainable company in the 21st century. So I'll hand it back over to team, and I'd like to thank you all for coming and making your time to be here. We really hope that this will be a very informative session for you, and that you can learn more about what we do and the steps forward to be involved with us. Thank you, and take care.
Thank you, Tolu. So we will call on Mina Pupajiman, Participant Engagement and Outreach Manager, to take us through what the UN Global Compact is, our strategy and value proposition. In the course of the presentation, if you have any question, feel free to leave it in the chat box. We will attend to it at the Q&A session after the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Please, if you can hear me, kindly give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Thanks so much. Yes, as Rhoda mentioned, my name is Mina Pukiajiman. I'm the Participant Engagement and Outreach Manager for the UN Global Compact Network. I'm happy to be here this morning to take you through who we are, what we stand for, the areas that we work within, and we will conclude the discussion on how you can join us or even partner with us on a project. So I hope that at the end of the day or at the end of the session, you're going to have as much information as you need to know the kind of engagement you can potentially have with us as an organization. But before I share my screen to start with the presentation, I would like to open the floor to 3 people who have interacted with us before or you know us. So we want to know what you've heard about us, what you've gathered about us, and how your expectation for the session. So if there is any volunteer who will want to share what they know about the UN Global Compact and what they is. Yes, Jasmine?
Hello everyone. I'm Jasmine, originally from Ghana, attended Kean University, currently in the United States. I attended the Thunderbird School of Global Management in Arizona. I love a lot of UN stuff, the Sustainable Development Goals, and personally for the UN Global Compact in the year 2022, Sanda Ojambo, the Assistant Director of the UN Global Compact, visited my school and had an interaction with the students and faculty. So that was when first and I got to really experience in person who they are, and having the Sanda Ojambo speak to us was really great. So when I received this invitation, I was like, okay, well, this another session is good to partake, and that's how I'm here.
Oh, that's good to know. At least Sanda is your point of contact and she's the highest here. So that's
Yes.
good to know. Any other person who is willing to share with us? If you just heard of us, what did you hear? If you saw anything on us, what did you see? All right, if you don't have any other, thanks so much, Jasmine. I will then zoom quickly into the presentation. Please, can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, kindly give me a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So we are the UN Global Compact, and when Tolu, our executive director, was giving the opening remark, he made mention of Kofi Annan, who started this initiative. And for us as an organization, our goal is to help businesses to accelerate their ambitions and to also help them scale their global impact. So basically, whatever we offer, our offerings, our events, our programs, our tools are all geared towards getting businesses to accelerate their ambition. We understand that there are some who have really made headway when it comes to their sustainability journey, and there are some that are starting. So whichever area you find yourself or level you find yourself at, the Compact is here and positioned to be able to provide you with the resources, the tools that you need in order to scale your impact. And the goal is that it's not just about your organization, but to help you feed your effort into the global goals. So if you are implementing a net zero program as an institution, you are asking yourself the question, how does that feed into the wider picture. And that's solely our purpose. And we came about when Kofi Annan attended Davos, the World Economic Forum, in 1999. And he, through their discussions, saw the need to have a human face to the global market. So for those of us who have economics background or even business background, you know that supply and demand sort of determine prices, and profit is the main agenda of every business. So at the end of the day, it's much more about what businesses are getting out of any interaction. So why don't we create that enabling environment or create a compass that would put all stakeholders together to ensure that we are not just making profit, but we are also making impact. So that's the main reason why we exist. And since 2000, the UN Global Compact has been in existence, providing support for businesses to scale their collective impact. Moving on, we as an institution, we are guided by our 10 principles. And you may think, oh, okay, 10 principles, what do they mean? They basically means that whenever as an organization you sign up to be a member of the UN Global Compact, you are signing a commitment to actually abide by our 10 principles. And I won't bore you with all the details of those principles, but I'm going to give you the pillars, the 4 pillars upon which these 10 principles rest. So we have the human rights, we have labor, we have environment, and anti-corruption. So what this means is that whichever company you see that identifies as a participant of the UN Global Compact respects human rights. Not only that, they make sure that their employees are treated well, so they are respecting and abiding by all the international laws on labor. And also they are making sure that their operations are not negatively affecting the environment. So our participants are conscious and intentional about ensuring that the environment is secured, that the environment in which their employees' work is safe and healthy, and also the community in which they are situated are not negatively impacted. So within their supply and value chain, we expect that they uphold the principle of environmental sustainability. Then lastly, we all know anti-corruption. If you live in Ghana, if you know Ghana and you know the impact that corruption has on not just businesses, but even society as a whole, then government system, even academia is affected by corruption. So for us, whichever entity that works with us, that becomes a participant, we expect that they put in place policies and measures that curtails corruption. So you can't be a corrupt business organization and be part of the UN Global Compact. And the membership to the compact is not, we can revoke your membership, yes. So if you fail to ascribe to our principles, then that means you don't align with us, and therefore there's no need for you to be in the network. So in the course of the presentation, you're going to get to know how we check all these things and how we are able to revoke the membership of some businesses that don't show commitment to the 10 principles. And so maybe you may be wondering, what's the purpose of the 10 principles? And of course, we are the UN initiators. So the goal is to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. So if you are abiding by human rights, what's the end goal? The end goal is to help contribute to the attainment of the 17 development goals, which we may all be familiar with. So that's basically a summary of the principles that we hold on to and the end goal for us. So our principles: human rights, labor, environment, anti-corruption. And the end goal is to help businesses and all our stakeholders to contribute towards the attainments of the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, so we all know that the 17 goals are very broad, and we have quite a broad principles because human rights in itself is very broad. Environmental sustainability is very broad. So there is a bit on degradation, there is a bit on pollution, there is a bit on biodiversity, there's a bit on climate change and all that into it. What do we intend to do? What's the kind of impact we are seeking to create for the business community, for governments, and also for civil society? So our first drive is to drive impact on specific goals. We understand that we will be able to make impact when we narrow our efforts down to some specific goals. And this does not dispute the fact that our actions and inactions focus on the wider picture. So we have partner organizations that also focus on the areas that we don't focus on. So with that, we are aiming to help businesses have an outsized effect on outcomes. And these outcomes are on the specific goals that our next slide will touch on. Then after we have driven impact on those specific goals, we don't expect the businesses to stay the same. We don't expect them to be at the entry level. We don't expect them to say, okay, for us, we've just focused on gender mainstreaming and that's the end for us. No, we expect anybody that we engage to scale their ambition. So if today or this year as a business, you are working to promote the livelihoods of 20 women, we expect that in a year or two, that number scales into 100 or even 1,000. And we are not just helping you to scale your ambition, we provide you with the resources that will enable you to scale those efforts. Then finally, on driving impact, one key thing that can enable you to even scale your ambition and also drive impact is when you are able to make measurable progress. So imagine as a business, there is this advocacy on the need to make your value or your supply chain green, and you are investing heavily in it. And at the end of the day, you don't have any measure of the value that is offering to your business. I'm very sure if you are running such an organization, you wouldn't want to make that investment again. So we as an organization have therefore created a platform that enables all stakeholders, businesses and even non-businesses, to report on the progress that they are making. Because what we believe is that when you are able to report on the efforts you are putting in, one, you are able to gather data, enough data, and you are able to assess whether you are making progress or not. And out of the reporting, you are able to set recommendations that can help you to either scale or set new targets for yourself. So these are the main core value delivering that we offer our participants. And so you will see all these in the subsequent presentation on how we are able to drive the impact, how we scale the ambition, and how we enable either the non-members and non-business and businesses to make measurable progress through our reporting. So I kept mentioning specific goals. So these are the specific goals that the UN Global Compact works within. And there has been instances where I've met some of you at events and you ask me, oh, how can we work with you? We have a project ongoing. Would you be interested in partnering with us? This slide is to give you the kind of events, the kind of programs as an institution we may be interested in partnering with you, or we may be interested in helping you to implement some advocacy work within. So the first point is human rights. So if you are working in the space of promoting or enhancing human rights, yes, our ears are open to you, our doors are open to work with you. So if you are an organization and you are seeking to integrate human rights in your operations, then the UN Global Compact is the right place for you, as we have all the resources you would need for that integration to happen. Then we have labor and decent work. Maybe you have been in the production space for years and you've just been doing business as usual. So you've just been doing business as usual. And so whether the work environment is conducive for your employees, you can't be bothered. But now you hear advocacy works, you are now getting the business cases for investing in sustainability. So you want to ensure that there is labor and decent work in your organization. How do you go about it? The UN Global Compact got your back. We have all the tools and the resources for you. And of course, climate change. There are countless engagements.
Yeah, you have to usually book.
Please, if you are not speaking, kindly mute yourself.
Yeah, COVID time when we had a lot of people from Bolivia. So, yeah.
Sorry? I'm sure you saw the invite. So, I was thinking to be here already associated with this thing, so can we show? So right now we're only answering to discount.
Sorry, I was muted. So of course we have climate change, and of course because of COP, there are a lot of conversations, discussions around climate change. There are a lot of tools and resources around it, and of course, climate change keeps getting worse and worse, and we need to move forward faster when it comes to climate change. So yes, as an organization, we are built to provide our businesses all the support they need to implement interventions that address climate change. Then we have anti-corruption. So we have coalitions, we have platforms that helps ensure that as a company that wants to abide by anti-corruption policies, global anti-corruption policies, we bring these policies to bear to our participants. And not just only that, last month we hosted quite a number of webinars on anti-corruption and how as a business you can put in place measures to address corruption, to ensure that the operations, there is no act of corruption in your operations. Then we have gender equality. And on that, we have a gender mainstreaming tool that our participants can use to ensure that they are integrating the gender into their model. And there is inclusivity, and there is also equality and equity within the space. Then, of course, SDG integration. And if you are in the typical corporate space, I'm very sure you've heard a lot about ESG, that's the environment, social, and governance principles that most investors are holding businesses by. And for us, our aim is to make sure that our participants are not seeing SDGs as a corporate social responsibility. However, should see it as an integral part of their business model. So we provide the needed tools and resources that enables them to integrate the sustainable development goals into their model. And of course, transformational governance. You cannot integrate the sustainable development goals if your organizational governance does not support it. So for instance, those of us here who are not the CEOs or board members of our organization, if you see the need of integrating maybe climate action in your program and your CEO does not see the benefits of it, there's no way the organization can commit to that intervention that you've introduced to them. So for us, we believe that when the governance system of an organization is transformed to place priority on the Sustainable Development Goals and on our 10 principles, we would be able to attain the outcomes that we are looking for. So these are the 7 key thematic areas as an organization we focus on. So if you want to engage us, kindly make sure that it's within these 7 thematic areas. All right, so if you are an organization or you're a business or even a non-business entity, you may be wondering, why should I be part of the UN Global Compact, or how do you even get the businesses to ascribe to your principles and get them to be willing to integrate sustainability into their model? So this part of the presentation is going to focus on how we engage. So basically, we engage on 4 main platforms or outreach. So we have the connection, where the aim is to connect industry to experts and to peers and also to the UN system. We cannot, as an entity, work without the UN because we are a baby of the UN, an initiative of the UN. So of course, whatever connection we are creating, we are fostering, it's to ensure that at the local level or at the global level, all efforts, all stakeholders are brought together to sort of contribute to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals and the targets of the United Nations. Then we have the learning bit, where the goal is to provide our participants the resources, the knowledge, and the skills that they need in order to help or contribute to the set agenda or the ambition at hand. And also the next one is lead. I'm brushing through this aspect because I'm going to talk intensively on each of them in the course of the presentation. So on lead, when you become a member of the UN Global Compact, we are expecting you to take leadership. So it's not just about implementing projects. It's not just about hosting events. It's about leading the space. So maybe you are in the tech space, you are in the media space. The question is, how do you take leadership on the conversations on the 10 principles and the conversations of the Sustainable Development Goals? And you are able to take leadership because we are going to provide you, or we provide you with the resources and the contents, the knowledge and the skills for you to be able to leverage on to take that leadership. And of course, finally, you don't join and not communicate your progress to us. We believe that reporting is about transparency, reporting is about progress, and it helps also to build trust and credibility. So every year, we expect our members to communicate on their progress, what they've done in the previous year and what they seek to do in the coming years. So on the connection bits, how do we do this? We do this through our flagship events. So if you follow us on any of the social media platforms, or you have your details in our portal, we have been reaching out to you on some events. If you've subscribed to our newsletters as well, I'm sure you've been seeing invitations to some of our webinars and some of our in-person events. So we have some flagship events that's happened, and the goal or the rationale behind these events are to bring multi-stakeholders together to discuss the issues regarding sustainability, regarding doing business in an impactful way. So we have the Private Sector Forum, we have the Leaders Summit, we have the Global African Business Initiative, we have high-level meetings of caring for climate change at COP29. These are some of the few programs that we have, and these are global level events. We have the regional level, which is the African level for us in Ghana, and we have local events. So for us, Ghana here, we had a CEO breakfast meeting. We have a living wage program, which is going to happen in August this year. And we have quite a few lined up that we will be doing or we'll be rolling out. And some may invite you because some are open to the public, others are also restricted to the public. But those here are all restricted to our participants. So when you become a participant, you have access to all these events, and some are strictly by invitation. And so you have to really prove that indeed you are worthy to be called upon to be part of that conversation. And this sort of reminds me to reiterate the essence of not just joining us. So you go into our portal and there are lots of CSOs and a lot of businesses that want to be part of us. But the moment they join us, that's the end. You ask them to come up with reports, they don't reply to your emails, they don't respond to you. We don't give invitations to such participants to attend our events. So we are very strict on the level of participation. Moving on to the Learn, where the aim is to gain the knowledge and skills to make progress and to deliver impact. I opened this presentation by saying that for us, it's about helping our participants to accelerate their ambition and also to scale their impact. And we believe that if you are not well resourced, if you don't have the knowledge about the new trends in the space, you wouldn't be able to make progress. And so how can we get the businesses or our participants to make these acceleration and scale? That will be through learnings. And the first point of learning is our library. And the library is open source. Anybody, non-members and members can all access our library. So if you've not checked our library out, kindly go onto our website and find out there are a whole lot of research work that we have done that gives you data as to how to even go about some of the visions that you have when it comes to the integration of the SDG. So these are some of the reports that we have on women empowerment, introduction to just transition. So whichever area within our 7 thematic focus that you work within and you need any document to support your argument, your research, you can go onto our portal to access them. Then we have tools that we make it easy to use tools that you can use to guide you on how to go about your sustainability journey. So for instance, we have the Web Gender Gap Analysis. So this gives you the opportunity to have an oversight of how you are doing when it comes to gender mainstreaming. And when that is done, it also gives you recommendation on how best you can address the challenges, the gaps that you see after the analysis. We have the SDG Action Manager. So maybe for you as an organization, you don't even know where to start from. You've heard about sustainability. You've heard investors asking you to have a sustainability plan for your business, and you don't even know where to start from. So the SDG Action Manager, what it requires is just put in the details of your organization. So you are a media firm, you have this amount and this number of employees, you are located here. You put those basic data, and what this tool helps you do is that it tells you the goals, the sustainable development goals that aligns directly with your organization, which of the goals you have to prioritize, how you can incorporate the goals into your business model. Yes, it's that in depth. So it helps you to take action, it helps you track progress, and of course, with our collective effort, it helps you to contribute to the transformation of the world. Then we have the Decent Web Toolkit for sustainable procurement. Maybe for you, you're in the production space, so you have to outsource. Maybe you're into rice production, so you have to outsource your production from your rice from maybe the northern parts of Ghana. How do you make sure that in the procurement of your resources, it's even sustainable? How are you making sure that your vendors are sourcing sustainably? And these are tools that are easy to use. All that you need is to be able to provide as much information as possible so that we can give you the solutions that are tailor made for the kind of business you are operating. Beside the tools, we have a premier e-learning platform that all staff members can access to learn a thing or two about sustainability. So you may be wanting to integrate gender into your operations and you're running a tech firm and nobody seems to be an expert in gender mainstreaming, and you don't have the funds to recruit a gender expert, and you don't have the funds to consult consultancy firms like PwC or EY or KPMG. So what then do you do? There is a need to build internal capacity. So the academy aims at building the internal capacity of our participating businesses. And this is open to all your employees. And so as much as they can sign up and take a course. Some of them are very short. It's just a 2 hours course. And some of them comes with a certification that is globally recognized. And if you are able to take the time to go through the courses, you realize that after every course, you gain expertise in one of the thematic areas that we are focused on. Then we also have what we call the peer learning groups. We are strong, or we are big on experience sharing, knowledge sharing. We believe that not all businesses are at the same level. Some have really made progress with their sustainability journey. Others are still taking baby steps. So we create the avenue for businesses to share ideas, to share experience. So for instance, if you are a tech firm that has not been able to integrate or enhance inclusivity, and you're looking at ways to do that, during any of the peer learning sections, you are able to get a full in-depth presentation on a tech company that has been able to come up with an innovative idea to address the challenge. So currently we have these main areas that we look at when it comes to our peer learning groups. We have labor and human rights, we have climate action, we have gender equality, and we have SMEs. So for instance, you're an SME, and well, your investors are really calling for integrating sustainability into your models, and you don't even know. You think it's possible, but the level of feasibility of it is very low. So during peer learning groups on SMEs, you get to hear from SMEs in the UK, in China, in Indonesia, who have come up with tools and strategies of integrating sustainability into their model. And that's a very good platform to ask all your questions. And it's easy for adaptation. Some of them are very open to share their models with you for you to replicate or adapt to suit your context. And that's one of the key benefits of being part of the peer learning groups. moving on, we have what we call the accelerator, and that is an in-depth program that seeks to promote leadership, to promote best practices, and to also help our participants to come up with sustainable solutions to the challenges or the problems they've identified in their operation. And for this particular program, it may take between 6 to 9 months to go, and it's very intensive. And currently, we are rolling out the SDG innovation, and for that one, we are seeking that the teams that are on board will come up with concrete solutions to the problems that they identified. And this has taken several dimensions. So we have the in-person ones, we have the global deep dives where, of course, there is a platform for knowledge sharing where experts come in to help the teams to understand what even design thinking is all about and how they can effectively create solutions to the problems that they have identified in their organization. And for us, at the concluding part of our accelerator, which we are currently implementing, the SDG innovation, we are going to have a multi-stakeholder discussion and engagement and showcase the solutions that our participants were able to come up with. I'm very sure that if you are not able to even join in person, we may make provision for online participation. So look on our platforms and look out for these programs to participate in. So this is much more information about our accelerators. We have thousands of businesses participating in it, and as the year comes on, we deem the sustainability space as ever evolving. So whenever there is the need to come up with an accelerator to address particular challenges, we come up with those content to be able to do that. And our newest accelerator is the Business and Human Rights Accelerator, which we have about 700 plus participants already. And so this is a step in the right direction because business and human rights is very key. And during the Universal Periodic Review of the human rights status of countries, business and human rights form a very key component of it. And about 2 years ago, when they were reviewing Ghana, I was there to present on business and human rights at the UN. And it's very key, it's very crucial. So as a business that is committed to human rights, it's not just about your business, but it's about even the country that is hosting you. Then on the leadership, we expect you to take bold steps. And one of the key ways you can show leadership within the network is by being part of our coalition. And most of these coalitions are multi-stakeholder coalitions. And these are sometimes open to experts who are not even part of the compact. So for instance, with the science-based targets, we are working with the Science-Based Targets Initiative. And for that, we are helping businesses to achieve their net zero target. And if you have an expertise in doing this, this is one of the greatest ways to share your ideas and also to lead the conversation within the space where you find yourself. And these are high-level engagement. And so if you're a CEO in your organization and you're an expert in integrating any of these thematic areas, then you are fit to join and to sign up once you meet the requirements. Then of course, we are a group, an association. So policy is critical, policy advocacy, because we believe that if as an organization, so some of us can attest to this, you have a drive to ensure, let's even take the Galamsey issue in Ghana. You see how passionate individuals are about creating the awareness, fighting for the sustainability of our lands and river bodies. But because we don't have an existing policy that is being enforced to ensure that Galamsey is addressed, we are still having that issue. So we believe that regardless of the quantum of resources we provide for the businesses and our stakeholders, if there is no conducive environment for them to operate, for them to implement the sustainability ideas and agenda, then there's no point in getting the knowledge and the skills. So for us, we advocate on the global level, we advocate on the regional level, and we advocate on the country level. And the goal is to create enabling environment for businesses and our key stakeholders to be able to freely contribute to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Then one other area of our work is our call to action campaigns. And most of these actions happen online. So if you follow us, there are a number of posts on Forward Faster initiative. Because for the Forward Faster initiative, I will touch briefly on it, because during the last review of how well we are doing towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, we realize that we are way, way, way behind. And so there is the need to fast track our contributions. There is the need to bring all hands on deck to be able to attain the goals. And so these are the rationale behind the campaigns that we run. So the African Business Leaders Climate Statement, for instance, is to get business leaders to commit and make statements on the need to address climate change. And for Africa, our economy rests on private sector, because almost all African countries are having the challenge of high rates of unemployment. So imagine that if an SME is able to grow and scale their contributions, then it's really going to affect employment. And once people are employed, it's going to affect the household. And once the household is affected, it's going to address poverty and zero hunger. So these are the rationale behind our campaigns. And they are not just campaigns, they are call to action. So we are hoping that as we send out information, as we send out data, as we provide solid data or business cases for these calls, businesses will take action, governments will take action, CSOs will take action. Then at the end of the day, we all feed into the attainment of the global goals. All right, so when you become a participant, you have access to quite a lot of things. And one of the things is our media toolkit. So we believe that you can create awareness among your consumers, amongst your clients through social media. And some don't have a social media or marketing department, or they don't even know how to even go about it. So for instance, when you are contextualizing the sustainability data or information, there is a manner that needs to be communicated, because there is the danger of greenwashing, there is the danger of not communicating clearly to your audience. And so the media toolkit is to help you tell your story. As a participant, how do you tell your story? How do you project your contributions? How do you also host campaigns and awareness creation with your platforms? So you have access to that toolkit as well. Then we have our Think Labs. And for us, sustainability is ever evolving. Climate change is ever evolving. Poverty levels ever evolving. Peace and security right now, every day, it looks like as you sleep and wake up, there is a new dynamic in the space, and that, whether you like it or not, affects you. Last week, I was at the GCI, the Ghana Climate Innovation Center event, and one of the presenters was showcasing how climate change affected his production and how that sort of changed his mindset on doing business and how climate change plays a crucial role. And so we have our Think Labs where we birth new ideas, new ways of improving our commitment towards sustainability, coming up with thought leadership, engagement strategies, and best practices that can help businesses in their implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. And so these are content that are created by experts. So this is where we birth the ideas. This is where we birth solutions to the new trends that are happening within the ecosystem. Then on the last bit of the ways we engage, we focus on reporting, which I already touched on, and why do we insist that our participants report on their progress annually? We believe that the report helps you to understand what you are doing. If you don't understand sustainability, if you don't understand its implication on your business, the board will not agree to it. Your stakeholders will not agree to it, will not appreciate the investment you are making into such taxes or programs. So for us, we believe that the report helps you to understand. And when you understand what you're doing, if you understand gender equality, then you're able to set targets. Okay, so I'm a media firm. How do I, with the understanding I have with gender equality, how can I set targets for my organization to ensure that we achieve these gender equality targets? And once you are able to set the targets, then you are able to track. So if you say you want to commit to the empowerment of 20 women for 2024, and if 2025 you are reporting and you realize that, oh, okay, I set the target for 20 and I was able to do 15, then I can say, okay, what went wrong? What went right? What can I do to scale? What can I do to address the challenges that made it impossible for me to achieve the 20? And finally, if you are able to track, then you are able to disclose. If you will be honest with ourselves, when you encounter a business person who is just not about greenwashing, making it seem they are committed to sustainability, but the person is really committed to sustainability, ESG, or whatever you choose to refer to it, the confidence with which the person speaks, the data the person is able to provide will foster nothing but transparency. But when you don't have any proper report, any proper assessment of your data, disclosing it becomes a challenge. So if an investor is interested in investing in your company, you are now looking for data to prove a point. But if you are a participant and you're always reporting and communicating on your progress, it's easy for the investor to track where you started from and where you are now and the room to even make progress. So this is the rationale, or this is the general overview of our report. So it helps you understand, it helps you to set targets, it helps you to track, and it helps you to disclose. And for the businesses or the entities that don't have consultants writing their sustainability report, the network provides you with a questionnaire that helps you to sit or gather the information that you need, the data you need to report on your sustainability effort. So it makes it easier. So as soon as you become a member of the network, we share the questionnaire with you. So you start inputting your data. It's not a one-day affair. Some people just stay behind. When it's time for reporting, then they are now looking for information to put in. No, that's not the purpose of the questionnaire. The questionnaire is to be with you throughout the year. As new things happen, you key in your figures. So at the end of the reporting cycle, you have all the relevant data in one place, and you are able to show and report on your efforts and contributions towards sustainability. So here is just a pictorial of what you get. So when you become a member, you're going to have a page on our portal. So on the page, you have your company's name. You can upload a video of your company and how you are integrating sustainability, and you are able to upload your letter of commitment. You are able to upload your report. So whoever goes onto our website is able to see the reports that you have uploaded onto the portal, is able to access the video that talks about yourself and all other things that you have uploaded onto your portal. So your investor sort of have some level of confidence that indeed you are committed to the sustainability journey and it's not just talk. Then we also have the SDG Pioneers Program that gives recognition to businesses that have shown commitment to sustainability. So you've been able to come up with innovative ideas that not only make profit, but also make tangible impact. And for Ghana, I think somewhere 2020, we had Busis, a company which was part of the country network Ghana. And currently he's moved his operations to the US. And that's the value that being part of the network offers, and not just being part, taking our program seriously, committing to your participation, because it's through that you get the connections, it's through that you get the investments that you need, it's through that you gain the knowledge and the skills to be able to scale and project whatever efforts that you're putting in out there. And of course, there is a responsibility that comes with being a member of the UN Global Compact. And now what I have projected now is the projections for businesses. Currently, we don't have fees for non-businesses. However, that is going to be introduced soon. So if you are a business and your annual revenue, this is not your annual profit. So we get people asking often, is the contribution charged on my profit or my revenue? Is charged based on your annual revenue. And this is not your projected revenue, but your actual revenue. So for local network fees for companies less than 20 million or between 25 to 50 million, the fees is 100,250 USD, and the rest as you can see there. And these contributions are paid annually. So your average revenue will determine how much you are paying as a participant of the UN Global Compact. And this is for business participants. Okay, so I think the most frequent question we get asked during programs, during programs are, okay, you see, that is an exciting initiative that seems to be very informative and valuable. How do we join? How do we get to join? So these are the main steps you go through to join. All our applications are done. online. So you don't send me an email, because if you send me an email regarding your interest to join, I will just have to redirect you to our website for you to put in your application. So the first step is to go onto the website, find what we call the application guidelines. So in the application guidelines, everything that is expected of a participant is stated there. If you're a non-business person, there is an application guidelines for you. You will get to know the requirement, the documentations you need to submit to us. And it's not every company or every entity that the UN Global Compact works with. If you're a business that has been sanctioned by the UN, you can't become a member of the the Global Compact. So go onto our website, get to know the kind of businesses that can join, the businesses that cannot join. And after going through it, if you qualify, then you prepare what we call the letter of commitment. And when you go onto our website, we have a sample there that you can use. This letter is basically stating that you are expressing your interest in joining us. Secondly, you are clearly stating that you are going to commit to the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact and also to contribute to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. And the letter must be as clear as possible, because that is what is going to tell that indeed you are committed to what the UN Global Compact Network stands for. When that letter is ready, the letter ought to be signed by the highest authority in your organization. So if yours is an executive director, he signs. If yours is the MD, he signs. If it's the CEO, he signs. If there is a board chair that would have to sign, he signs. Then finally, you go back to the online portal, then you complete your application. This process can take a while. It can take between 6 months and a year. One, depending on how much information you provide. So some people will just submit the form and fail to provide us with the documents that we need. So we would send them an email, and it takes forever for them to respond to the email. And it's not just about submitting your application. We have due diligence review that goes on at the global level, regional level, and at the country level. So at every stage of your application process, there is a team that reviews it and makes sure that one, you are a legitimate business conducting legal business, that you exist, because we've had some businesses applying and there's no footprint whatsoever of them anywhere. The location they input, there is nothing there. So at the end of the day, because of the risk factors, our due diligence process is very intensive. And that's why it takes so much time for us to admit anybody or any business at all into the network. Yes, and let's get social. Yes, some of us, you are not very responsive to your emails. And for easy communication and getting much information on us, the best way is to follow us on our social media platforms. We try as much as possible to put our events, our programmings there. So if you want to know what we are currently doing or what we've done in the past, our social media platforms can give you that space. You can reach us there as well. Send us a DM, send us a text, and we will be happy to answer all your questions. And of course, you can reach us via email on info@unglobalcompactghana.com. And for all of us here, I sent you email, so I'm sure you have my email as well. So if you need anything, you can reach out to me and we would get interactive with you. So on that note, that is us. the UN Global Compact Network. And yeah, if you have any questions and any comment for us, we are open to have it. Thank you so much for your audience.
Thank you very much, Mina. At this point, we will take questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And we have one question from Nana Beecham. I hope I got your name right. And you want to know where or when?
Yeah, hi, Rhoda. Okay, sure, I can see the next question on the peer learning group. So for the peer learning groups, we are strictly for our participants. And so for those timelines and schedule, we share it strictly with our participants. It's not open to the public. I hope that answers your question. Okay, I'm trying to see some of the questions. Okay, please, how long will the session take? We are done with the presentation, so right after the Q&A, we will be out of here. Okay. Okay, Emmanuel, is your question answered as to whether you can join or not? Okay, so I'll take Lily's question as to where does a social enterprise fall within your requirement for participants. I'm asking because as part of our work, there are social interventions that are embedded in our work. How does this translate into the annual subscription fees? Okay, so we have two identities. We have businesses and non-businesses. And once you are a business, whether small or big, our fees sort of applies to you all. And for this, the fees, the structure is fixed. It's the same everywhere, from the global, regional, wherever way or where you find yourself. This is the schedule that we have for the fees contribution. So that's where you fall in. It's either you fall in business or you fall in non-business. And when you fall in business, the contributions apply to you. Yeah. And as to whether you are a social enterprise or you have integrated interventions in your company, yes, that's the end goal of the UN Global Compact, to get businesses to integrate sustainability into their model. And if you've already started, that's a good step. And for us, if you are joining, the goal is to help you accelerate your ambition and also to help you scale the impact that you are having. Yes, so for requirements for NGOs, the same procedure as the non-businesses. So you go online, then you go through the 3 steps that I showed you. So you review the requirements for non-businesses, then you start with your letter of commitment, then you start with your online application. Okay, so as a follow-up on, we don't have funding opportunities for our participants. But what we do is that if the slide on the coalitions, we had the CFO coalition, and we have a team, sustainable financing team, that seeks to engage with investors to get them to also have some funding for businesses like yours. So for instance, during our Leaders Summit, we bring together these investors into one space, and you get the chance to lobby for funds for your organization. And locally, we have a number of the financial institutions as our members, and we are engaging them. DBG, that's the Development Bank of Ghana, EcoBank, and we are all hoping to come up with a product that can support SMEs in that regard. And for us at the Global Compact, we have an SME strategy that is seeking to help SMEs cushion them and protect them, provide them with the tools, unique tools that's separate from what we are even offering to the general participant. So we are very intentional about SMEs. So although we don't give readily funds to SMEs, we work towards creating a connection between investors and SMEs. So that's the opportunity that exists for SMEs. How can university professors who teach sustainability join the network? Okay, so the main entry point for universities or academia is through partnership. So for us in Ghana, somewhere we can have an engagement after this session. We are seeking to have a partnership with universities to conduct research and also to work hand in hand to see how best we can integrate sustainability into the courses that we already have. So yes, there is that opportunity to have a partnership with your university, then we can have those conversations ongoing. And there's also the opportunity to participate in a multi-stakeholder platform, because we want academia to also come in on board to influence policy, to help us provide enough data for the business community to be able to integrate their sustainability models successfully. Yeah. Okay, Salom is asking, how long does it take? Well, as I mentioned earlier, the process can take very long. It can take between 6 months to a year to review, because it's done online and it's just one portal for all global networks, and we are about 163 country networks. So imagine there are a lot of data that we are working with. So that the process may take time. And depending on the kind of data you provide us, that can also influence how long your application fits into the portal. So provide as much information as possible when you are putting in your application. I hope I've answered all the questions here. Okay, Jasmine is asking, which industries in Ghana do you currently partner with? Our membership is quite diverse. We have Cubica Energies, that is into the energy space. We have financial institutions. We have tech firms like ZPay. We have quite a number of them. So we are not restricted by industry or sector. Once you are an organization who have the interest to commit to sustainability, we are ready to work with you. And once you want to utilize the resources and the opportunities that are made available to you as a participant, we are open to work with you. So we are not restricted by sector. But of course, if your operations are harmful to the environment, you are not going to be considered. If you don't have any plans or strategy to amend or make your processes green, then you don't qualify to be part. Beyond the networking and learning opportunities, what are the other selling points or value proposition UN Compact offers to businesses? Okay, that's a very good question. And I mean, business people, that's the first question every business person will ask. Why am I supposed to pay that much and what am I getting in return? So it's not just about networking. It's also about data, getting data that would help influence your production. And at the end of the day, the data is to help you scale. And scaling is not just the impact you are making, scaling in your profitability. So there is a popular saying of Kofi Annan, and I will just paraphrase. So he was basically saying that the compact is not calling on businesses to stop their operations or to stop doing business. What we are saying is that they should do the same thing they are doing, but they should do it differently. Where differently is taking into consideration the impact they are having. So we provide you with data, with the tools to make the right business decisions. And once that right business decisions are made, you become attractive to investors. We've had some businesses approach us to become members because they tried bidding from some procurement opportunities, some investment opportunities where they were asked, are you members of the UN Global Compact Network? And they wanted to know the offerings that we have. And because we are the world's largest sustainability network, and so we have that credibility. So when you become a member, you build that credibility as well, and you become attractive to investors and partners. So yeah, those are some of the offerings that we also have. And we help you, we do one-on-one trainings for our participants. So if you want to mainstream something that you've done the courses, but you still want us to come join you to help you integrate, we are open to provide you with that kind of support. Can you help a small scale mining company go green? Of course. And fortunately for us, we are the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and they are our main partners here in Ghana. So yeah, going green within the mining sector, that's something that we will openly have a conversation with you over, and maybe we in partnership with the Ghana Chamber of Mines, see how best we can help you make your mining business a sustainable one. Okay, on that note, I guess I've answered. All right, is there any other question? All right, thank you so much for your audience, and thank you so much for the questions as well. On that note, I will hand over to Rhoda.
Thank you so much, Mina, and thank you to everyone for joining us this morning. We hope we've been able to provide as much information to help you make your decision to join us as possible. And we hope we've been able to answer any questions you have. So we will be sharing the documents with all the links after this call, and you can reach out to us if you have any further questions or if you require any further clarification. Emmanuel says his question wasn't answered. It appears my question on sole proprietorship was not answered. Emmanuel, would you like to either repost your question because I don't see it here, or you can unmute and then ask your question directly. Hello, Emmanuel.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. So my question, earlier question was, as a sole proprietor, do I qualify to be part of the program? And if I qualify, what are the requirements? And if not, what should I do?
Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for your question. Okay, so the issue with sole proprietorship is that we've had instances where they join, and once the lead is no more there, we don't get any representation. So once you are able to showcase your succession plan, so if you are not available, is there somebody we can speak to? And if you're not part or you're not available, is the business still going to be in existence? So much so that we know that it's not just one person we are dealing with, because even the country network Ghana, unfortunately, we lost he was even on our board. He is a sole proprietor, and since his passing last year, we are not getting any response from either family or from anybody else. So that's the challenge with dealing with sole proprietorship. But that does not undermine the fact that you are a business and you can still go ahead and apply through the business format. As I indicated earlier, the only description we acknowledge is businesses and non-businesses. So once you're a business, whether your skill is you are a sole proprietor or you're a multinational or whichever, you can apply. But as a sole proprietor, in your application process, kindly let us know your succession plan so that we know that we don't want to lose you, but in case that happens, the unfortunate event happens, we know that it's not like we have to take the organization out, but the organization still exists and can still effectively participate in the network.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mina. Are there any more questions? Any questions before we round up? Okay, so in the absence of further questions, I will call on Tolu Lakwa, our Executive Director, to give the final remarks.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I think it's been a very fruitful discussion, a very good information session. And I think the questions that were asked here really reflect high interest in what we are doing. And that's something that's very encouraging for us to see. For us, this is not just another job that we are doing. This is absolutely a calling. We are answering Kofi Annan's call to make this world a better place. And to do that, we have to mobilize great businesses like yours to be involved and to participate. So thank you very much for attending this session. For any additional comments, please reach out to the staff. Be happy to assist you. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. Back to you, Rhoda.
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. We will be sharing all slides and the recording as well. Thank you.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.